He said, ma'am, he said, which one of those guys down there is your husband? She goes, that one right there. And he goes, well, if you don't shut the f*** up, he's like, you're about to cause him one whooping he'll never forget.
Ready? You have the cameras rolling?
Three, two, one.
Get ready, set, go.
Heck yeah, dude. You want to say it? Go ahead and say it.
Is this thing on?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. I know this is a recurring theme, but I'm tired this evening. I think we need to go back and find a running tally of how many times I've said that at the beginning of each show.
Let me be clear.
We had John Hopkins on last week, and I noticed him saying that a time or two. He was talking actually about what was the porn thing we was talking about, Kanan? OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yes.
I just remember John saying, "Let me be clear, I'm not canceling my subscription."
What was another one? There was another good one he said, talking about OnlyFans. You were talking about that singer that started OnlyFans, and he said, well, what it is, old career picture out. Remember that?
Yeah, he had a few good ones there. He
did.
He had me chuckling a couple times. Oh, I got another one here. Me and John were looking through some things to have like little, I think they call these stingers. There's little things where you just have a clip play. And we was trying to find some good Donald Trump ones because we all know he says some stuff that really, that make really good clips. But listen to this one. Let me see if I can get it to play. Very, very large.
A brain.
A brain.
Man, I miss that guy.
Oh,
dude, his speeches were so entertaining. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
But there were so many times when he was having a speech, I was so tense because I was like, don't say something stupid. Or not. For him, it's not something necessarily stupid. It was just, don't say something to get yourself in trouble.
Yes. Don't say something that's just going to totally f somebody off.
Exactly right.
That's like, yes, I enjoyed that. But on the other hand, it's like, man, you could save yourself so much heartache.
Oh, I know. There was a couple of them he did walk into. He created them for himself.
Oh, yes.
That's for sure.
Well, we've got almost the entire crew back with us. We are missing the redheaded wonder.
Yes, that we are.
Yep, she had to work.
And this is the first time in a long time that Miss hasn't been, since the first episode was start off with me, you, and John, and then Missy and Mariah kind of filtered in.
Yeah.
And I think Missy's been on every one then after that.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So out in our Indiana division, we have the Honorable H.C. Heskett. And then also, if Angels would drive cars, she'd still be upset. It's the road rage queen, Mariah Heskett.
He enjoys.
I only yelled at 2 people today. Thank you.
Only two people. Dude, I have went weeks without saying anything to anybody about their driving.
Now I have to hear Jackal say, hey, you guys, get out of my mom's way or you're going to jail.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She's training him up right.
Yep. Train up a child.
I'm just kidding.
Train up a child to be a little demon on the road.
That's the truth.
Here in West Virginia, we got my brother, the fella that looks like he ate Scott Kroger. I couldn't even get through that one.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man.
And over here, we have, he's back. He's back after going for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The fireman, yes, that's his name. Old John Sparks over here. You've been pretty tied up with your paramedic stuff, Lauren.
Yes. College sucks.
I
It
would
has
agree.
been crazy lately. And just
I
was supposed to
never
have the
gave it a
entire
whirl.
month of August off. Because they were like, oh, once you get through the summer semester, you'll have the entire month of August off. And then you can just kind of relax and rejuvenate and be ready for the fall semester. I didn't even have an entire week off.
Oh boy.
Oh,
And they're like, all right, now it's time to come right back. I'm like, wait, what? Because I hadn't even scheduled my fall classes yet. And they're like, class starts next Wednesday. I'm like, wait, okay, I got to get on the ball then.
dang, man.
Dude, that's crazy.
I never
right.
had enough confidence that I could get through. Is that the cat?
Yeah, somewhere.
Sound like a squeaky toy.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, dude.
There he is. There's old Lester.
Say something.
Say it, Lester.
Aw. Poor little kid.
We got a new little tomcat. He's a little terror, man. That little sucker. Yeah, I never had any confidence that I could ever get through college. So
I still don't.
Yeah, so I stayed. Yeah, me neither. I same.
I hated school so bad in high school that
Yes.
it terrifies me to even think about trying to go back into something else.
Yeah, I wanted no more to do with it. That's for sure.
Well, I didn't either, but I needed the pay raise.
Yeah, like I needed to pay.
Don't we all?
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
That's where I got to give props to Mom, because Mom went back to college when she was 32, I believe.
33, I think.
Yeah, I got to give her a lot of
So she
credit for
Yeah.
that.
she went to college, and for the first year or 2 years, she was trying to homeschool
Oh yeah,
us two little brats.
yeah,
Oh, dang.
That was horrible on her.
yeah. That was quite a load.
I don't see that going real well.
It didn't.
No, it did not.
Oh, dude.
Before we
Now-
get in, go ahead, Kana.
No, I was gonna say, was that when y'all lived in Fort Ashby or no?
No, that we was at
Oh, wait.
Grafton. I mean, I would have been.
You were in Grafton.
I just belched into the mic.
It's like I was 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We had a couple stretches of it there.
Gotcha. That'd been a little while ago.
When Mom
Okay.
when Mom wasn't in college, she was really good at it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and to the point, like, I came out of kindergarten and couldn't read. And Mom was like, you know, you're supposed to teach him to read. And
Yes.
I couldn't. Like, I knew, I memorized words, but as far as like trying to sound them out or anything like that, it just wasn't there. So Mom pulled me out in first grade, and she taught me how to read and all that's, you know, basic math and all that. And even through, and this isn't saying nothing about me, this is all totally Mom's credit. Then after I went back to public school in like 7th grade, or even when we started going to that Christian school, I think I was in 5th grade, I could always read better than everybody else in the class because Mom was so good at teaching us how to do it. You know, she was really, really good at that. Really good. Before we get
Gotcha,
into
wow.
too much stuff, we got to find the name of this place too. I had a little experience at a pawn shop that just enraged me. Let me find where this. And if you guys know, I don't get angry very often.
It's true.
What is the name of this place? It's the wrong pawn shop.
Not too bad.
I knew you got upset, but dang.
Well, actually, do you guys remember, Kanan? I think I mentioned something to you. The guy that got shot over on 119 the other night. Remember that?
Nah.
What was his last name? His last name was Poston, I think.
Yeah. Tyler Post?
Tyler Poston. Yeah, he got murdered the other night on 119.
Well, it's been about a month or so ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while back.
What was the cause?
I've heard a couple different theories.
They think it had something to do with his baby mama.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. And so he got shot, and come to find out, the guy that killed him was the owner of a pawn shop in Fairmont.
No way.
Yeah, I just hope it's not this one because I don't want to make this guy mad. Let me make sure. Look this up here.
Yeah, let's be real careful about this.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one. Okay, there's this place in Fairmont called Picker's Paradise. And it's like, it's a pawn shop, like the one side of it.
Paradise.
No, get it right. It's Pecker's Paradise.
That is better. Pecker's Paradise.
One side of it is like a normal pawn shop. And then the other side is all music equipment. Okay. And
Whoa.
so this guy, one of the guys I work with, one day around lunchtime, he's like, hey, you busy during lunch? I said, no. He said, well, let's go up to this place. This guy has a really good selection of music equipment. So we went up there and spent our lunch break, and he did. He's got like old Martins and he's got like really nice Fender Telecasters and stuff. I mean, just a nice selection of high quality used musical instruments. Mm-hmm. So about a month later, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a special capo for my guitar, so I'm going to go up there and see if he's got one. I go in, and first of all, the salesman that comes up to me was a really nice guy. Real nice guy, big old dude with a big old beard. And he was like, is something I can help you with? I said, yeah, just looking for capo and all this, that, and the other. And he said, well, I don't really know that much about the music side of it. I work on the other side, but I'll try to get the owner. He said the owner just had hernia surgery.
Oh,
So
man.
he was like upstairs or whatever. So when the guy comes down, now I understand you've just had surgery, so you're not feeling that great. But he goes to show me this capo, and I'm like, it's a used capo, so I want to see how it sounds. Because capos, Kanan, you know this too, and John, if your capo's crap, you get all kinds of string buzz and all that off your guitar. And you might as well throw it over the hill. So I said, can I test this out? Can we test it on a guitar? He's like, yeah. So he pulls this Martin down off the wall that I'd actually been looking at. It was a 1957, I think a D18, which is a high quality guitar. And especially from that year, a lot of those guys like those older guitars. So he pulls it down. He puts the capo on there to see. He thought it was a banjo capo, whatever. So he puts it on. He's like, yeah, it's for a guitar. I said, well, can I test it out? And he's putting the guitar back up as I'm saying that. I'm like, can I test that on that guitar you got there? And he's like, he goes ahead and hangs it back up. And he's like, yeah, we can test it. And he turns to the salesman. He's like, you're going to have to lift these guitars because of his hernia surgery or whatever. So that salesman just grabs that same guitar and brings it back down and hands to me. So I put the capo on it, and start playing and all this, that, and the other. Well, as I'm playing, the salesman's kind of to my right. The owner's at the back of me. And I can hear this little exchange going on, okay? And I can't tell what the owner's saying, but I hear the salesman whispering, well, I didn't know which guitar you wanted me to have him play. So this guy's like getting on to his salesman for letting me play this certain Martin that I even had interest in the first place. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, I'm a potential customer. Why do you not want me playing this guitar? I understand it's a high dollar instrument. It's a Martin from the 50s. But when somebody comes in to a music store, usually they can pick up a guitar, and by the time they've hit 2 or 3 chords, you can figure out if they know what they're doing with a guitar, as far as good enough to not tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this guy, I'm like, all right, whatever. It kind of made me feel awkward, but I'm like, all right. I kept testing the guitar. I was thinking about trying to buy this guitar off this guy. And so, I tested it out and went to go pay for the capo. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. We go walking towards the desk to pay for this thing. And I just turn around to the owner and I'm like, hey, that Martin that we just played over there, what would be your asking price for that? And he's like, like $6,000, but it's really not for sale. It's really just not for sale, man. Just like,
are you serious?
Acting like I was just completely useless.
Dude.
Which is true, but I didn't want him to make me feel that way.
So
I feel that way on my own. I don't need your help.
So, this guitar was hanging there on display to be sold?
Yes, it
and
was.
Then he says $6,000, but it's really not for sale.
Yeah, and and I'd also told him too. I was like, I got a Taylor GS Mini. I'd like to maybe trade in on something. And I figured a guy that knows guitars could just hear what I had to say and maybe give me a rough estimate. I'm not going to hold this guy to it. I'm just curious as what I could get out of it. I was like, I've got this Taylor to maybe trade in. And he's like, yeah, you just have to bring it in, man. You just have to bring it in. We'll look it over. And
Ew.
so I proceed up.
My God.
Yeah. It was, by this
The
point.
dude was a dick.
Yes, he was. And I get really stupid in these situations where I just take way too much. It's like it doesn't set on me for a minute. It's like these guys really don't want me here. So I go walking up to the cash register, go to pay with a card, and the capo was like $15, and his wife's like, "We can't take anything under $20." And I'm like, I said, "Okay, man, I don't have any cash on me. I'm going to have to, go get some cash and come back." And the other salesman was like, "Yeah, man, I'll hold it for you." So I walk out to the truck. I'm just about ready to head for the ATM machine to get some cash. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, no freaking way. If this was the last guitar store on earth, I wouldn't buy anything here. I hate that feeling.
Not. Oh, it's horrible. And I know exactly what you mean by just like making you feel awkward and just like, I've been in this situation. It's horrible. It is horrible.
Yeah, we had that happen to us at a Guitar Center one time. You remember that, John?
I honestly don't remember the incident. No, I mean, just from what you've told me, I don't remember it a whole lot.
Kanan, what was we was in there jamming on some Taylors or something, wasn't we?
I think so.
Not store in the mall.
No, I think
place.
this was up in Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're at Robinson Town Center.
Yeah, Robinson Town Center up there at Clinton Camp. Yeah.
Yep.
And we were in there jamming on some guitars, and I can't exactly remember what he said to us, but I don't think we weren't roughhousing or anything because we were always being really careful in a store like that, because there's so much money. Yeah, we knew how to act if we needed to.
Yeah, we just didn't show it very often.
Yeah, but we showed it around $3,000 guitars.
Yeah.
We're like, being really careful. I can't exactly what he said to us, though. Do you remember exactly what he said to us?
I don't remember what we were jamming to, and this cat is just screaming. I don't remember what we were playing, but we was getting with it, and by this point, we were all three experienced guitar players. We'd been playing for years. Yeah. And I remember him just like, "Hey, you guys need to be easier on those things."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. Well, dude, I think it might have been that year, that same year, or maybe a year or two after. I was at Clinton Camp and I was playing a guitar that I actually thought was my Uncle Scott's up on the stage. Mm-hmm. And of course, I was playing some good old gospel tunes because that's all I knew back in the day. What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Man
yeah, I remember him.
Was probably the better term for him. And he come up there and this is where it kind of made me feel more awkward. He's like, "Hey, haven't you ever wasn't you ever taught to ask before you just play something?" And I said, "I'm sorry, sir." I said, "I honestly thought this was my uncle's." I said, "I didn't know it was yours." I said, "He's got the same guitar." And oh yeah, well, he said, "Sounds like you know what you're doing on there, but man, you really should ask." And I was like, "Well, again, sir, I didn't know it was yours. I thought it was my uncle's." Like, like, goodness gracious, man, dude. I wish I would have been more ballsy kid because I would have just taken that guitar and acted like I was in a rock concert.
Just start playing "Highway to Hell" on his guitar.
Yeah. After the song "Highway to Hell," I would have taken it and done a Garth Brooks number to it.
Just smashed it on the stage.
It's like, dude, goodness gracious, man. It's like, whatever.
No, there are so many times looking back as a kid that you, like you said, man, I just wish I had some more guts. Wish I had some more balls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because now I'm just like, it's a regret. But what do you do?
There are situations now that I sit and think about. I remember with one of my first jobs, I was working at Wayne's Meat Market in Fort Ashby. Mm-hmm. And
Wayne's Meat Market.
I was working there, and it was a $7.25 an hour job. Just a low level minimum wage.
Man,
and,
you were making a killing.
Oh yeah, me and Miss, just got married, and I remember working back there and I screwed up somebody's order. It was, I think somebody had called in. They wanted some kind of cut of meat put out there, and I forgot something, and it wasn't ready for her when she got there. And I remember this old boy took me in the back, and he was like, "Do you even care about your job?" And of course, back then, I was real timid, like, and I was like, yeah, obviously, please, whatever you want me to do.
I'll slop.
I'll do whatever it takes to keep this job.
I'll do whatever it takes.
And just read my pedigree, and looking back at it, I'm like, if I could just run into him, and if he would just do that again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just please do it one more time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So many situations like that.
So when it's kind of weird, because when I was like, 15, 16, I was kind of more timid. But, man, when I went down to Florida, I worked my actual first job, like away from the family, Yeah. And I was working for Duran Roofing. And I worked for this I was on a couple different crews, and they put me with this guy by the name of Jaime was his name. And
Jaime.
Everybody told
Jaime.
Jaime. That's really good. They all said to me, they said, Jaime is a hard guy to work for. You will hate him. Well, man, the first couple times, the first 3 weeks was actually really good. Super nice guy for the first 3 weeks. Well, dude, it was probably like that fourth or fifth week I was working with him. He got mad about something so stupid. I think I maybe taken one of his caulk rags away from him or something, because he was like, had a caulk gun up there on the roof. And he started kind of like running his mouth. I don't know if it was just because I was a short fuse at the time, or
you had a super short fuse.
If maybe I felt like I had to prove myself, being that like I was away from the family business, I was out on my own, and I started giving him some lip. Well, he started giving me some lip back. Well, dude, I kind of lost my cool. And next thing I knew, I was chasing him up the ladder. And that little Mexican dude, he took off running. And I thought, I've got you now, dude. You're running from me. And so he got me calmed down. And I went back to the office, and I told the boss, the owner, I was like, I'm not working with him again. I was like, you can fire me for all I care. I'm not doing it. And he's like, no, you're fine, man. He's like, I thought it might work. He's like, but he said, he's a hard guy to deal with. He's like, he's actually a pain in our ass. So, yeah. But he's like, he's a good worker. So there was times I was really timid, and there was other times that I was wanting to kill somebody.
Well, see, I never was super outspoken when I was younger, but I do think that I said more things to people than the two of you did.
You probably did.
I think so.
I've never really held a lot back. It's like,
yeah.
When I worked at Burger King, that was a horrible job, but they called me in because they was going to do a 2-week suspension and then decide if they wanted to keep me or not. And I'm like, I already put in a 2 weeks notice, and it's up before your 2-week suspension. They're like, oh, okay. So does that mean you're done? I'm like, I guess so. So I just took my hat, my name badge off, and dropped it on his desk. He's like, "Oh no, you need to drop that off whenever you get your final paycheck." And I'm like, "Why? Why can't I leave it right now? Like, I'll leave you your stuff, and I'll go, and then I'll come back and pick up my check."
Yeah.
Like, I'd have walked out because the shoes and the pants I bought, so I could have just threw the shirt down, walked out without a shirt on.
You should have just. If you really wanted to get him. I'd have just stripped off naked, just gave him everything.
Just walked out of there.
Here you go.
Hilarious.
I'm done.
You want this?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Shoes and all.
I got a double Whopper here for you.
Oh man.
But yeah, like stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't like, super like mad or anything. It's like I didn't want the job anyhow, but. And it like up at Clinton Camp when them guys come down there,
oh yeah,
mad about that.
I was just
prank.
thinking about that when
Phil was just like, guys, you just got a little bit of Vaseline on your hand. It's nothing big. And I come out, I'm like,
That was funny. That was funny. I remember that. That was
You
good.
guys woke me up because you're like, oh, hey, the guys are out here. Like you said their name. And I'm like, what?
I remember that. That was funny.
Dude.
My dad was a lot like that. You know, he would just, and Dad could be that way sometimes to a fault. Like he would just, somebody cross him, it was over. It was over. Dad was going to make some enemies before the night was up.
Well, see, that year, probably 2 weeks before Clinton camp, I felt like I got the good sanctification. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I was being really careful on how much I said to those old boys because I was trying to live that sanctimonious life.
You guys knew, though, I wouldn't hold back. That's why you woke me up.
Oh, dude. No, that
man.
was funny, man. So I'm like, man.
Well, I tell you, there was one time, and I felt horrible about it later, but everybody give me a pat on the back. I was on a call, and this was a drunk driver, crossed the center line, hit a woman head on, and then before the cops got there, he jumped out of the car, vaulted over the guardrail, and run down through the woods.
Oh, my.
Well, then he ends up coming back up to the car, you know, and of course I got the cat's outside the door screaming now.
She's still screaming, ain't she?
Yeah. Shim.
Dumb thing.
And so he ends up coming back up to the car. Of course, I got to talk to him, you know, and, get a refusal from him or take him to the hospital, whichever it is. And so, you just got a list of questions that you run down through. And I'm like, was you wearing your seatbelt? That kind of stuff. I was like, are you hurting anywhere? And he was like, yeah, my dick hurts. Oh, I was that flew through me like a flaming arrow. I backed this dude up against the car and had my finger on the end of his nose, and I cussed him till a fly wouldn't light on him. I had never done that before in my life. And that voice that you have that's like deep down inside that you never use unless you're so mad you don't know what you're saying. I was using that voice and had this dude bent like backwards over his car, just cussing him like crazy. And and there was 2 deputy sheriffs just come up on either side of this dude, and they're putting on their leather gloves because I was good buddies with all the cops, and they were just getting ready to beat his ass.
Dude, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
And
deserves it.
And I got done, and he ended up going to the hospital because he was trying to,
Because his dick hurt.
yeah, because he's trying to get out of going to jail.
Weenie.
Well, we get him on the cot and put him in the ambulance, and then he is refusing to let me take a blood pressure. So then I start again. I'm like, you just get the F out of my truck then. If you're not going to comply with my stuff, you can go with the cops. I don't care. Well, they cuff him, and then they're like, well, you have to transport him anyhow before we can take him to jail. So then they put him back in. Well, he tries to kick the sergeant in the face with both feet. And then
That's
4 of those officers ended up coming up to the ER, because the guy was, obviously being belligerent and stuff. And they're all like, hey, man, that was some good yelling you did back there. And I'm like, I don't know about all that. That one guy was like, I was hoping you was going to him. He said,
Well, I mean,
because that was the first time I'd ever dropped the F-bomb, mad at somebody
You
or
rebel.
whatever.
oh yeah.
I was so mad. I had no idea what I was saying.
just an officer, I'm
I'm
not.
using it in the wrong context.
Yeah. Tell that officer, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. What did you want me to do to this poor guy?
Matter of fact, that same officer, though, is a Barber County deputy now.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude, Joseph Barkus.
Yeah, a lot of those. There's so many situations that like that where I've always been the kind that if somebody talked nice to me, they can pretty much walk all over me because it's hard for me to get to tell somebody no or get confrontational if they're not confrontational. But
Yes.
Right.
if somebody gets smart, it actually does me a favor because then it makes me mad and then I can actually stand up for myself.
Oh, dude. I just had that happen probably 2 weeks ago, Phil. I think you remember that. I
Oh,
called
yeah.
you up.
You was hot,
Oh,
man.
Don't mention names.
I won't mention it. Well, I don't even have to talk about it. But man, oh yeah, dude, they acted like a smart aleck. Dude, I went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it don't take long.
Nah.
It's been a while since you've been like that.
Well, like because my ex-wife was very passive aggressive, so
Ugh.
I pick up on that real quick. So if anybody is like passive aggressive towards me, I'm just like, I'm done. Like, you either shut your mouth or you're going to get an earful. Because once I start, I can't stop. Like, I just keep yelling until like I just run out of words.
So your brain gives up.
Yeah.
Would you like to be on Hillbilly Broadcast? Of course you would. Who wouldn't? If you find yourself in that category of people, please feel free to go to anchor.fm/Phil Sparks and send us a voice message, and we will play it on the show. You say, I'm more of an email guy or gal. Don't worry, we got you covered. Send an email to hillbillybroadcast@aol.com. You say, I don't like either of those options. I'm a Facebook-only individual. That's fine. Look us up on Facebook at Hillbilly Broadcast and send us something on Messenger. Well, you ask, Phil, what if I want to go the extra mile and I want to support you all? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because that is very, very easy. Go back to the first website I told you about, anchor.fm/Phil Sparks, and you can support us on a monthly basis if you so choose. We love our audience, we love audience interaction, and we will read your messages or play them on the air.
Dude.
I remember Dad one day, and I was a little kid, I mean, maybe 4 years old, and I can remember there was this old man, and he was sitting up on the register, something like the counter, and he was cussing about something. I don't even remember what it was. And I remember he was sitting up there because I can still see him to this day. His legs just kind of swinging like a little kid. And he said, apparently he just cussed and carried on. And I remember Dad, he's like, hey, watch your mouth. He's like, and of course that guy was like, what? And Dad's like, watch your mouth. So I got 2 little boys here. And I remember that guy's like, boys, I'm sorry. And then he looks at Dad, and I remember he pointing his finger. He's like, but you mind your business, and I'll mind mine.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man.
Dude.
You know, there is nobody in this world that gets madder quicker and wants to fight quicker than old men.
Oh, man, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, dude, you talking about somebody, your dad calling somebody out for cussing. There was a guy I used to work with. He came back from work. He was at I think a kid's softball game, and he said there was he was up in the bleachers. Of course, he said there was a bunch of women there and stuff. And he said he was up there in the bleachers, and this woman, he was dropping the F-bomb, F this, F that. And he said this woman turned around, and she looked at him, and she goes, "Sir, you need to watch your mouth." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Well, he said, I just kind of got lost in the conversation with my buddy. He said, of course, I'm always cussing. He said he dropped the F-bomb a couple more times. He said, and she turned around, she goes, "Sir, I told you to watch your mouth." And he goes, "Ma'am," he said, "Ma'am," he said, "which one of those guys down there is your husband?" She goes, "That one right there." And he goes, "Well, if you don't shut the up," he's like, "you're about to cause him one whooping he'll never forget." Oh man, and dude, I laughed so hard on that. I was like, it's so true, man. The women, man, they'll just run their mouth, and then and then they expect us to pick up.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
it's like you're writing checks that I got to cash, lady.
Yeah, exactly. Her poor husband's down there like, what in the world?
He's like getting beat. What I do?
What I do?
That made me think. Limp Bizkit did a song, and like in the chorus is talking about your mouth wrote a check that you can't cash.
Oh yes.
Oh boy, things can escalate so fast too.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they
well, you'll talk about old men. our uncle is 83 or 84 now, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's about right.
He was at the pharmacy at the Walmart pharmacy to pick up his prescriptions. And when he gets up to the counter, he's like, I got prescriptions for, what his last name is. And the girl goes and gets a bag of prescriptions, but there was one medication he didn't have. And he was like, I called in this prescription like a half hour ago to be refilled, and y'all said it would be ready, but I don't have it. And she's like, oh, well, let me go look. And so she goes back and she finds it and she brings it back up to him. And, of course she's apologizing for not having the prescription or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this old man that's behind Uncle Buck is like, hey, you don't need to be giving her such a hard time. So Uncle Buck turns around, looks at him, and is like, I was not giving her a hard time. She just didn't have the other prescription I needed. Now, you don't need to be messing with me because you have no idea what kind of man you're messing with.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. It's true,
I mean,
man.
at the drop of a hat, old men will fight right now.
Them old guys, man, they're feisty, man.
Oh, man.
They're feisty.
I remember my dad too. He had this theory. Well, first off, he started watching Chuck Norris, so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start using some of those moves if I ever get in trouble." And I remember Dad used to carry, because West Virginia is a constitutional carry state and it's open carry state. He used to carry this .22 pistol, and we're like, "Dad, what are you doing? Why are you carrying a .22?"
You're gonna make them angry with that.
Yeah, and he's like, "Boys, if they come at me, I'm gonna start at their feet." Start shooting and just work my way up. He said, by the time they get to me, they're going to be full of holes and they'll stop.
Because he didn't want to shoot and kill nobody. But he thought if he started at their ankles and worked his way up.
Yeah, I'll just cripple him.
Dude, that's funny, man. That's good. That is good.
That pistol was a Phoenix Arms?
Yeah.
Little .22 long rifle. The worst pistol that has ever been manufactured. It would jam on like every third shot. And so dude. Dad's like, I'm going to start triangles and work my way up. And I'm like, you won't get past the first two.
Yeah.
You won't get past the ankles.
Yeah, you got 2 shots, Dad. Oh, man.
Oh, dude, that's funny. Man, that's funny.
We did get him to carry, because it was about the same size, that little .22. We got him to finally start carrying one of them Ruger LCP 380s. But
yes, I remember him telling me that.
He loved them, the little tiny pistols. And I got big long fingers, and I can't hold on to that little pistol like that.
And you talking about some just some good times that we had. Remember, we had been, I don't remember exactly what the situation was leading up to this, but I remember somehow you wound up in Fort Ashby staying for a week.
Oh yes, that was amazing, dude.
We had some fun that week, because I remember there was this. Remember these little, because me and John was big into airsoft at that time. Mm-hmm. Airsoft was booming, man. And
airsoft was the thing, man.
It was. And it was a lot of fun.
It was a blast. It really was.
And there was these 2 boys that lived just down the road from us, and the one, it was a boy and his younger brother, and the younger brother was so stinking annoying.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
could not stand that kid.
Yes, he was.
And if I remember right, Cannon, you what did you do to him on the? We was playing airsoft, and you did something. You made him cry somehow.
Well, I done many things to this boy.
This is very true.
The first, are you talking? Well, okay, the incident I made him cry. Okay, the incident I made him cry was we were down there playing airsoft, and it was down to just me and him. Everybody else was out, and somehow my pump shotgun ran out of ammo. So you actually threw me your airsoft gun, which was a fully auto.
Oh yeah.
And so he hit me. Well, I said, I'm out. Well, I kind of stayed hunkered down because he kept shooting at me. And then he hit me again, and I said, I'm out. And he just kept shooting. I think he hit me like 3 times. So finally, I thought, well, if I'm going to keep getting hit, because he had the right angle on me to where he could, he was getting. Of course, I was fat back then, so I was a big target. Wasn't as flexible as I could have been. So that barrel, I was bigger than the barrel, and whatever. So finally I thought, well, if I'm going to keep getting hit, I'm going to stand up, and let him, whatever. So I stand up. Well, when I stand up, he stood up too, and he's laughing. He's like, how many times I hit you? And I just raised that airsoft gun up and just peppered him. I said, this minute. Dude, I don't even know how many rounds I put into it. I don't even know where. I think when it's a good thing he had his glasses on, because I think I shot him in the face and everything else. Like I was out for revenge, my man.
Yeah, he was finally. I remember him like hunkered down, cried or something like that. I'm like, well,
yeah,
this is awkward.
Yeah. Dude. And then his brother got mad and acted like he was going to do something, and then of course. I think John stood up and was like, "Yeah, you're not going to do anything."
Boy,
that was a lot of fun. Dude. We had dude. Remember the dirt bike you all had? And
oh yeah,
you would drive me around, and I would be on the back of that thing with a gun, and I'd be shooting at people with that thing. Dude, it was so dangerous. But dude, we didn't even give a crap, man. We just
I know how a lot of middle-aged guys are like, man, the crazy stuff I did when I was a kid, I don't know how we didn't get killed. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's not like that crazy. But then like the stuff that hurts now, and you're like,
oh yeah,
how did I really not get injured doing that?
Oh my, it's truth, man. It's the truth. I remember so well, man. I'd be on the back of that dirt bike, not hanging on to anything, literally hanging onto the gun and trying to shoot people as we're flying down this gravel road.
Maybe we should clarify it.
Combo.
Maybe we should clarify it was an airsoft gun. It is not a spree shooter.
It was an airsoft gun, and we were in a battle at the time. Oh, dude. Well, dude, talk about airsoft, and I don't know if I should put this story on here or not. We can take it off if you want, but you remember that week that I went to Fort Ashby, you guys had picked me up there at our camp up there in Ohio. And I had that same pump shotgun. And I've never really considered myself like a good aim. But with that airsoft gun, man, I could pick some people off.
Oh, yeah.
And remember that kid? He was not too smart. He was mentally handicapped. And that I guess I should clarify, he's not the smartest cookie in the cookie
He's trying
jar.
to figure out how to make it sound better that he was shooting a little mentally challenged kid.
So I mean, yes, he was more mentally challenged, but the kid could hold down a job. It's so on. He couldn't get a driver's license. So anyway, it's still bad. I understand, but anyway, so he's coming down the rampway. Do you guys remember this?
Let me think. There, I remember the time in the van. Kanan was shooting people out of the van, but go ahead with this one. I'm not sure if I remember this.
He's coming down the sidewalk. I think we might have been in your all's van. And I think I rolled the window down and stuck that shotgun out the window and shot him in the neck with it. he goes, ah! And he starts like swatting like there's bees around him. and so I think I shot him like 2 more times. And before he realized, he goes, Kanan! There I've got this gun stuck out the window. Oh man.
Where you mentioned that barrel. That made me think. Do you remember what we used that barrel for? We made a mechanical bull out of that barrel.
Well, that wasn't the same barrel, was it? Because when he was hiding it, we was over on their land, remember? In the woods.
Well, we played a lot over
Yeah.
on our property too, though.
Yeah, we did.
But
I do remember that bull though. That was awesome.
that
Hurt so bad.
could you imagine though how bad that would hurt now?
Oh man.
Oh my dude.
Because of course Pap helped us put it up the first time, and it was like 7 feet off the ground. We had to use a ladder to get up onto it
Yep.
because, of course, we just had cheap ropes and stuff, so they had a big bunch of stretch in them. So you'd get up on it, and then it would kind of come down to where it's like maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground. But
Yeah.
when you'd go to get bucked off, you'd be about 6 feet off the ground. You'd be up at the
Oh,
top
my
of those ropes. Oh
Yeah.
man, well, you come down and blast your elbow,
Hurts so bad.
Oh,
and you that house that we grew up in there at Grafton, where this mechanical bull was at. Remember, it was just all mud,
Yep. Stayed muddy.
and so
down there.
you would just splat down in the mud.
oh dude. Oh,
And
man,
so
the
we had
times
2
we had.
ropes tied to the back and coming up to separate anchors, and then one at the front. Well, we was just grabbing that one at the front, and raunching on it and stuff. Well, then we figured out if you got a hold of the 2 at the back, you could make it do belly rolls.
Oh yeah.
And all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
And man, you can
Dude.
just tear it up.
Got hurt so bad on that thing.
man.
Hurt so
Dude.
bad.
But it's man, the crazy things we done as kids, man. I remember I was talking to somebody the other day, and dude, I used to do stupid stuff like I wouldn't even dream of doing now, like riding in the back of a pickup truck and seeing a good grassy spot. They're running like 20, 25 miles an hour, and just for the fun of it, you're like, I like to leap out and see what it feels like. It don't feel good, I can tell you that.
Oh.
I did that one time.
Yeah, dude. It's like,
You remember
it's
that?
crazy, man.
Oh, I do remember that.
We were coming up from the lake. Phil,
Oh,
Dad, and me had Phil's canoe and the kayak and my kayak out on the lake. And
Okay, yes.
so we're coming up out of there, me and Phil, are soaking wet because we was swimming. So we're riding, sitting on the tailgate, and like helping hold the boats in while Dad drives up the hill. Phil's like, I dare you to jump out of the back of this truck. He's like, if you jump out of this truck, I'll come back and pick you up on the 4-wheeler. And I'm like, done, brother. And I bail out of this truck onto the pavement.
Oh, dude.
I remember hitting and I bounced and rolled.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, my word, dude. That had to have hurt so bad.
And old Dad
my
locked the
goodness.
brakes up, man. And I'm like, go on, because I wanted Phil to come get me on the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, we wanted to get to
But I had to get back in the truck and ride back home, so I didn't even get to have fun.
I remember when we was a kid,
Oh, dude.
4-wheelers were huge.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
And I don't know. It seems like, I mean, they're still big now, but when I was like, 10, 12 years old, they were stinking everywhere. And we lived in the country. So
Yes.
you had all kinds of places to ride them. But it always inevitably, you wound up getting yelled at by some property owner because you were over where you shouldn't be.
Oh, yeah. Done that many times.
And then the people that used to, a friend of ours, remember she wrecked that time.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. She like had I think a lacerated liver. And
She
I
had
don't know
3
what all.
lacerations to her liver. She had a bruised spleen, and I don't remember, like a bunch of internal injuries.
Yeah,
Wow.
those things
I
can
thought
be
you knew how
rough.
to drive one.
I think they flipped it down a creek or something, and it hit.
Yeah,
on
they
top of
flipped
her.
over like a 6-foot
creek.
embankment, and it landed on top of her. It was, it was a
Wow.
hard lick. They life flighted her to Morgantown.
Yeah,
Doggone.
But
man.
do you remember when we had that, what was it? Suzuki Z400, that racing 4-wheeler.
oh yeah,
Remember,
That yellow one?
yeah.
remember you went to because we both, I think we was both in high school at that point. When you went to school the one day and somebody was talking about their family shooting at
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
on a yellow 4-wheeler.
Yeah, because there were these people that lived over there in Fort Ashby, and I won't mention their names, but they were just horrendous. And they had a lot of property, and of course, as a kid, you're trying to find a place to ride, And we never really, there was a lot of people that would ride that would just tear up land, you know, just spin it out, make all these ruts and all that. But we never did that. But we was over there riding around. I don't think there was even posted signs.
No, we're just following 4-wheeler trails that's already there.
Yeah, stuff that's already there.
Yeah.
Well, we had a couple run-ins with some of these people because some of those people, I liked Fort Ashby, but man, the neighbors we had were awful.
Yes, they was.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they were.
Yeah.
Fort Ashby was, just a couple hours from D.C.
Yeah.
So you had like D.C. people that would come there to try to get away from the city, and then they still had that D.C. attitude.
They wound up being total jackasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember I was at school, and I was talking to a girl that lived out there, and we were talking something about 4-wheelers, and she said, "Yeah, there's." Somebody was telling me that there was a yellow 4-wheeler over there on that property where they shouldn't be. And of course she didn't know it was us. And she's like, they were shooting at them. They were shooting at these people in these, and I'm like, oh boy.
I won't be riding over there again, I promise.
Like, if I ever find out who it is, I'll let you know.
Well, so like, the road we lived on, that gravel road. So, Pap had brought up that Polaris 800. That like couch that you rode through the woods.
Oh yeah.
Remember it had
That
independent
was
suspension on all 4 wheels, and it was just awesome. So
That was a cool.
I was riding it, and that one neighbor, I was going out the driveway, and I see his 4-wheeler sitting there, and like he's standing in front of it, and I'm like, I know what he's going to do. Like he's going to try to stop me, and then be a jerk. So he starts like walking over to get in front of the 4-wheeler to stop me. So I just get over like in the grass on the edge of the road, right on by. He's like running, trying to grab me off of the 4-wheeler. Like,
oh my word.
So I get to the end of the road. I'm like, I know he's going to come after me, but he'll be coming towards me and I'll dodge him, going up to the house. Well, I just turn around and stop. Left the 4-wheeler running, just sitting there in gear, just like, waiting like I'm, on a racetrack, just waiting to go.
Yeah.
And so he comes up and he's like, hey, you're stirring up too much dust. I said, that's the perks of living on a gravel road. Whoa, but out there I went. And I went back up and told Mom, and she's like, because he had been complaining about that before, and that's what Mom had told me to tell him. She's like, tell him that, well, that's, when you live on a dirt road, it's a public, driveway. We can ride our 4-wheelers on, and there's going to be dust. Like, you can't help it.
Yes.
Yes. And so I went back and told her, I'm like, hey, I just told him that. And she's like, well, that's what I told you to say.
Yeah. Dude,
and we weren't even flying through there. I mean, because Mom and Dad always taught us to have respect.
Yeah.
It was our driveway, and it was shared by multiple people. But
also, though, his house set at least 50 to 75 yards off of the road. So, like, the dust from that ain't even going to get on his vehicles. It was just, somebody with a bad attitude that
there were some miserable people lived up there.
The same guy, remember he dug a bunch of ditches across the road.
Yeah, he tried making his own speed bumps and stuff. Oh,
yeah, on a driveway where like a bunch of people live.
Well, and this is one of those things where you wish you could go back, like we were just talking about earlier. Because I remember he put up a game camera.
Oh,
up there.
Yeah. So at that time, we had that little 300 Honda Foreman 4-wheeler. We had the 800, and then we had that dirt bike.
Yeah. Yep.
And we told Mom, we said, hey, he's got a game camera up there. Because every time you go by, it'd flash, and I'm just like, it's a public road. What are you going to do? And Mom's like, oh, come on, boys. We get on all 3 vehicles that we had, Mom, Phil, and me, and we're riding back and forth in front of this guy's house, and that camera's just going crazy. we did that until it quit flashing. We filled the camera up with pictures.
Oh, dude. That is awesome.
Well, like I said, this is one of those that you wish you could go back, because I'd go moon that camera now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my, yeah, absolutely. I might even give it some sun.
I just go riding by, standing up with both cheeks hanging out.
Yeah.
Just go out there about midnight, and you're just on the 4-wheeler, just buck naked.
A nightly stroll.
That's insane.
Got like war paint.
Well, and those ditches that he dug, we realized the faster you went across them, the smoother they was. So we just pick
true.
up speed because it's a 4-wheeler. You can't, we didn't ride them hard enough to tear them up, and they're meant for rough terrain. So
Yeah.
we just speed up and shoot across them. And it's like, hey, this is better than slowing down.
Oh, dude. Oh, that's so funny. Man.
I don't know what made me think about this. We was talking about dares or something. I don't know. But I seen this video on Facebook, and I know that you guys can't see it, but you don't have to see it to get what I'm saying. So those things, Kanan, that sit on the back of a lot of church pews that hold like those tithing envelopes and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, listen to this.
Hey, over here, it's me, that doohickey on the back of the church pew that holds tiny pencils and envelopes that adults stuff cash and personal checks in so that they can fund things like the gymnasium where grown adult men stay after the prayer service on Wednesday nights to play one-on-one basketball. Now's your chance. Your mom is still in the choir loft and your dad's already snoozing in the pew. Grab one of those Burgundy Baptist hymnals, a tithing envelope, and one of those putt-putt pencils, and let's get to doodling. You can doodle all your favorites. A flower, a house with smoke coming out of the chimney, or a Christmas tree. Any time of year, you love drawing a Christmas tree, don't ya? You can play hangman with your brother and make him guess a really hard word like Methuselah. Quick, Miss Judy is getting up to sing a solo with the choir. Draw her with a really big giant butt and show your brother. He'll think it's hilarious. Quick, do it.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know what made me think of that. I was watching that today, just dying of laughing.
Oh, dude, that's
We
funny.
didn't really do a lot of those, like, hey, I dare you to do this, or I dare you to do that. Like, those two are the only ones that are really, like, stick out in my mind. It feels like, hey, I dare you.
Well, we didn't do a whole lot, but a lot of people do even less than what we did.
That's true.
And they
my, yeah.
live really boring lives.
That's very true.
Oh, yeah, very boring.
One of our favorite things to do is basically get together and sit around and do what we're doing right now. Just BSing and telling stories and all that. And we've actually got some stories to tell. I've heard of other people, I've sat in conversations with them, where the only stories they have to tell are rehashed stories that somebody else lived. So they've got a story to tell, but they don't have any of their own. I think that's man, get out and live a little bit,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's sad, man.
Well, sir, we might as well start winding her down. What do you think?
Now, hey, let's end it with this.
What do you
Let's end
got?
it with the derp statue.
Oh yeah. John's got a little story here.
So, have either or any of you heard the Jacksonville derp statue?
Yes, I have.
So this statue is like a continuous thing that looks like one of them super long balloons that like you blow up. Then they usually make like stuffed animals, or not stuffed animals, but like animal shapes out of them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's like
The
a
swords usually end
tube.
up looking like they do.
Yes, they do.
When they tie them up, they look like giant wieners.
And if anything, Kanan is an expert in that area.
But anyhow, it just looks like one of those, it's just this continuous tube, and it's supposed to spell out Jax, like Jax, for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And
Yaks.
Yak. But anyhow, so they just come up with like the concept of it, and then they insert it into a picture of Jacksonville where it's going to be at. And it's 151 feet tall, and it literally spells derp. DERP.
Yes.
That's exactly what it looks like. I mean, like I'll share the article with you guys in our group chat, but it literally looks like it spells derp. And so
Wyatt Derp.
and the biggest kicker is it costs $18 million.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Well, I'm glad they're putting their money to good use.
Yeah, for real.
And because they had some special engineer that designed this thing, 151 feet tall. And they're going to spend $18 million on a statue that says derp.
Wow.
And
Dude, that is ridiculous.
I mean, like the picture I'm looking at right now, it doesn't even come close to spelling out Jax. Like it is horrible. And so Jacksonville, most of the city council were on board. Like, oh, we should get this because, we need something to kind of spice our city up a little bit. And so everybody else, though, like the citizens of Jacksonville, like the majority, not just like a little bit, the majority of people were like, this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen. We do not want our tax money spent on this. And so then the city council in Jacksonville are getting all kinds of offended because they don't have support for a derp statue.
Oh, dude.
It honestly
That's
does.
funny.
It looks like it spells derp.
Yes, it does. Like I say, I'll send you guys the picture and you can look at it. But that's exactly what it looks like it spells.
Oh my word, dude. That's insane.
That's amazing. I'll have to ask my sister about that. She lives in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they should probably know.
As of when this article was written, it was still just like in concept. Like they hadn't
So they haven't
approved
built it.
to spend the $18 million yet. But they're going to go ahead and do it anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got,
Dude, that's insane.
we got
Wow.
something for Jacksonville.
Yeah, there you have it.
You suck, dude.
Oh,
Sad.
oh goodness.
John, you got anything before we shut it
I
down?
don't think so.
Kane and Mariah, what about you guys?
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're all good.
All right. I don't really know what to plug anymore. I forgot what I usually plug. I guess you can catch us. You got to send us an email.
Hate mail.
Hate mail.
We want hate mail. We just want you to send in stuff trying to roast the show. Tell us how ugly we
can
are.
roast you.
Yes.
And we want you to send in hate mail because, then we'll just turn around and hate on you.
Exactly.
can send-
Exactly. It makes things more fun.
Yes, it does. You can send that to hillbillybroadcast@aol.com. You can also find us Hillbilly Broadcast on Facebook. You can send it to us there. Or you can go to anchor.fm/Phil Sparks and you can send us a voice message, or you can become a supporter of the show, whichever you so choose. I guess that'll do it for tonight, huh?
I reckon so.
All right.
Yeah, buddy.
I like it. It's been fun. We love y'all. We'll catch you next time on Hillbilly Broadcast.